So what does it actually mean when someone says they have a 6-figure or a 7-figure business? Well, 6-figure would be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. 7 figures would be in the millions of dollars. But what does that actually mean? Does that mean they're generating 6-figure revenue or 7-figure revenue per year? So 7-figure revenue per year, they're generating over $1 million per year in revenue? Or do they mean their company is worth over 7 figures, over $1 million? Or do they mean cumulatively? Maybe they've been in business for 10 years and it's a 7-figure business, meaning in total, over all those years, they've generated a cumulative total of revenue in the millions of dollars. So I think a lot of people will throw those, phrases out there, those words out there, kind of makes them sound good. But I think it's good to kind of unpack that and understand what it is they're saying. One important thing to consider about that is, are they talking about gross revenue or are they talking about net income? Because you could have a 7-figure business that's generating 7 figures in revenue per year, meaning millions of dollars per year in revenue, but you might be losing money. You might not actually be making any money. So what if your revenue is exactly $1 million, but your expenses were $1.5 million? Yes, you have a 7-figure business, but you're losing tons of money. And that's not unusual. There are big corporations that have had annual losses continually. So, you can brag about having a 7-figure business, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's successful, that you're even making any money. So is that gross revenue? Is that net income? Those are two very different things. The next thing too would be kind of depending on the industry. If someone just has their own practice as a lawyer where it's just them and they're generating 7 figures in revenue, that's a lot different than someone being a home builder generating the same amount, because with that lawyer, they'll probably have a lot lower expenses. They might just be renting out a small office space, they'll have some insurance, a computer, phone, some office supplies and things like that. As compared to the builder, that's building houses, they're gonna have tons of expenses for all their material, hiring labor, insurance, probably borrowing money, interest on borrowing, purchasing the land and things like that. So what's actually going into the pocket of the lawyer earning $1 million versus the home builder earning $1 million per year are two probably very different numbers. Also something to be mindful about with someone like a real estate agent, where real estate agents can really make a lot of money. They can have really high revenue, but it's also typically a pretty expensive profession. They have professional fees. They're doing commission splits with their broker. They're typically paying for their own advertising. They're driving a lot. There can be a lot of expenses that go into being a real estate agent. So something to consider as well. So when people say, oh, I have a 6-figure business, I have a 7-figure business, maybe don't take that at surface level. It might not mean what it sounds like, or they might not even know exactly what they mean by that. So just something to be aware of. And like anything, might just require some discernment or asking some questions for clarification, because I think, I've heard those terms thrown out there before, and I'm not sure what people actually mean by that, if they're actually talking about net income or annual gross income or cumulative gross income. Those are all very different things. And of course, there are businesses that have 7 figures in annual gross income and some even in annual net income. So not to say that doesn't happen, but I think a lot of times people will use those statements just to, maybe for egotistical reasons or something like that. And it's not really what some people think it means. So hopefully that was a valuable explanation, just something I hear a lot and I wanted to address. If you found any value in the video, please click like and check out my other videos on the channel. I cover business management and business startup topics. And if you have any questions on those topics, just feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below and I will address it there.